A very good afternoon. We are back in the UK. I've been out a couple of days in a row now, just trying to fill up the film banks with enough stuff to show you. And it has been pretty good. I've just come for a long walk along the Thames. I don't usually come this far. It's probably been a couple of years. I came looking for common ring plover and dunlin that have been seen here in the past. You had to walk quite a way east. I'll show you on the map. So anyway, let's get to it. I've made a little list so I can talk you through all the goodies. So first things first, a little dunnock gave me a call and landed on the fence post as I walked into the reserve and chirped there for a while, set my tripod up, but it was too windy, jumped down on the floor. Lots of them about, lots and lots of them. I always say, I remember it was my first bird that I was able to identify outside of, sparrows and pigeons. The dunnock. What's it called? It's called is it a hedge sparrow? I think the other term for it is. I don't know. Anyway, next up we had stonechat pair that were hunting in what's called the old horse paddock, where the little horse. We have two big horses and a little horse, and he used to be kept in this little paddock, and that's good for reed bunting, stonechats, white throats, things like that. So at the moment we've got some stonechat pair, and followed them through there for a bit until I started moving around to the left, and then I saw some other birds that looked a bit bigger, whiter, and it wasn't until today that I found out what they were. So anyway, we'll get back to that. What on earth are you? I've just written BNG. Oh yeah, it's quite sorry. I've just written BNG and I forgot what it stands for. It's a big deal. Apparently these are the only record for Crossness, and not only that, two of them, Black Necked Grebes. Now I think I have only seen one before, and it was at Cliff Pools. It was either 2020 or 2021. It was a bit distant. It was only when I had a 400mm lens, I believe. So it was a bit of a crop, not very good quality. So yeah, somebody said there was some further down river back in 2010, but these are officially the first of Crossness. So I believe I saw them in Las Vegas last year, but I think over there they call it an eared grebe. An eared grebe. So I thought it was a new species when I was in Vegas. I was like, and then I looked it up online, also known as in Europe, and oh well. Anyway, that was a big deal for here. So managed to get a little bit of tripod footage of that, but a bit windy. And there's lots of things flying around here. Something's going to come out while I'm filming. It always does. And I don't have my hands free, so be prepared that I drop everything. I think it's probably dunnocks. I can see the way they land on this wall. They kind of land there and then they land here and they look over. They're jumping around with some starlings that are down here. And since I've been away, dunlin flocks have been building up on the Thames. So they're going up and flying around, very exciting to see. And mixing in, resting on the mud with all of the other waders. Just got to let some people by here. So yeah, so the flocks are really, really, really good to see. A good few hundred of them. I think they can go up to 1,000 down this way. And nice to see, I think we were getting mixed reports of it being about 25 to 30 avocet on the river there. So I tried the tripod. See, I notice when I travel actually how little wind you get when you travel. The UK is very windy, and the tiniest bit of wind at 800mm shows up drastically and you can't use it. So yeah, good to see the avocets. Yeah, down here, I'll get to this. There's a lone lapwing and some other lone bits, red shank. What are you in the tree? A little bird? A lot of chiff-chaff about. I can't even check what that is. It's probably a robin. I think I recognize that tail flick. Sear. Right, somebody was pointing out the common sandpiper, and then I saw a more beige looking bird. Immediately I knew it was going to be a rock pipit. They do frequent Crossness in the area, so pretty good views of a rock pipit. Redshank. Whenever I stick my tripod up, or my selfie stick, things go up in the air, I've got to be a bit more respectful. Common sense, yeah, so the rock pipit, that's a nice little addition. Out in the water, you got the cormorants weren't really feeding in the outflow this time. They were out and going down, you know, sort of 50 meters out and coming up with food. So a bait ball underneath, some fish congregating further out. Yeah, odd to see them hunting so far out. A wren gave me a little call to the left of me where the outlet is, and I took the opportunity to film that. It was out in the open for some reason. I mean, it's literally, I've been away a month and all of the leaves have gone, so I'm seeing everything now. You're getting to see stuff that's normally hidden in the summer and the autumn. And down there, you know, down at there was, first of all, when the grey heron flew in just in front of us at the outflow, it scared off the little egret. And eventually, because there's so much food, I assume, the grey heron allows other things to get close. So a little egret came over and a redshank. They're all happily hunting together. And next up, you can see why, because the grey heron pulls out a lovely big, some sort of eel, or what would that be? Tell me, anglers, what species this is. I know some fish have an eel appearance, but they're not an eel. But I saw him sort of moving around, even from the distance I was, with something in his beak, and it taking a while to get it down. I don't know why. Slippery little guys. But I had to work on that for a while. And there was a bit of discussion between the birders. Like, I imagine that sort of swallowing that and it's wriggling around in your tummy. So that's sort of put an end to yesterday. And following on today, a buzzard was being mobbed by some crows. Oh, sorry, no, my mistake. I saw the buzzard on the way back through the reserve yesterday. Awful lighting, as you see, so we're just going to skip by that very quickly and not spend much time on that. So then I went into the hide because there were reports of sniping there, and very harsh lighting conditions. I put the camera on a tripod, but it was the snipe moved briefly. Lighting, like I said, made it really hard to film. Eventually settled and went to sleep. And I just thought, you know, there's not really any point filming this from now on. And some unidentified warbler, it's probably a chiff-chaff. It just, sometimes if a bird isn't, I mean, usually when you get the chiff-chaffs, they're in trees like this, going along the riverfront. And this one was in the middle of the Norman Road field. It was landing on the posts, which I don't usually see chiff-chaffs do. And it looked very small. But it's probably a chiff-chaff. But I'll take a screenshot and see if it comes up as anything else later on. So I will. Hey dogs. It's a great day. It's a lovely day. Everyone's out walking. People have been stopping and saying hello. Everyone's interested in the seals. Have you seen the seals? Cyclists are saying, have you? No seals for I think a couple of months, which is a shame. Somebody's feeding them somewhere else. They're getting their food somewhere else. Anyway, so let's skip forward to today. First thing, saw a kestrel being mobbed by a crow. And then once the crow left it alone, it started doing circuits. Male, greyhead. And then I heard, it was behind me. Buzzards are very vocal. Heard the call, it was being mobbed by a crow. And for several minutes, this crow would not leave it alone, but it was very distant. So I got what kind of slow-mo footage I could of that. And yeah, quite vocal, jumped up from this puddle forming in the mud, sat on the fence for me. And then I saw a white bird in the distance. The ones I was seeing yesterday, sort of smallish, I was thinking maybe pipits or something. I made my way over, and two or three lighter coloured birds flew over the fence at Norman Road Field. And eventually I was taking footage of them. They reed buntings, 2 female reed buntings, 3 and I think a male, and eventually, while I stood there, they came out and started feeding. And I do notice this in the wintertime, that birds, they're hungry, it's cold, they've got to consume lots of calories, so they're more likely to come out. So that's why, you know, when the redwings and the fieldfare get to the UK at first, nobody ever gets to see them, very flighty, they're off feeding in the, you know, hidden away in trees. But in the winter, they have to come out feeding. When the leaves are gone, you get great views of them. Is that a seal? I'll keep an eye on that. There might be a bit of driftwood. It really caught my eye. It looks like a... one moment. Awesome. So it was a grey seal, big old grey seal. When I was filming this ship earlier, yeah, the ship was coming up being pushed by 2 tugs, one on one side and one at the back, and had Chinese writing on it. And I don't know what it looked like, transporting oil, chemicals, I don't know, but on it it said dangerous cargo, safety first. Sorry, my tripod's fallen off. I've got to make some sort of hook for this because I've got so much to carry, including my other phone with all of my little notes on. Right, so I usually find a hook. That's it, yeah, I can feel the nice catch. Anyway, dangerous goods, dangerous materials, I think it said. Safety first. So the tug was pushing it up, and I had a look on board, cheeky, my long lens. But can anyone tell me, there were loads of gulls behind it dipping into the water. Now, is that things like, well, the first thing I would think of is it's opening its sewage tanks, and, you know, if so, why didn't it do that at sea? I don't know. Or is it algae and things that stuck to the hull coming off that are nutritious things out of sea, but you don't get them up the river? Somebody tell me, you know, what's all the big feeding action? A big line of hundreds of gulls behind it dipping into the water, catching little somethings coming off the back of the boat, or maybe even being churned up from the sea floor. Because yeah, it's obviously, I mean, it's not going to be very shallow, it's not going to be very deep, but I assume that those big propellers are going to churn up a lot of mud, and all these, you know, the mud's going to bring in fish to feed on the smaller things, and then the gulls feed on the fish. Let me know, let the experts tell me. So yeah, on this side of the recycling centre, the Peregrine was there. It was there last night as well. I tried setting the camera up on a tripod, but the tiniest gust of wind, and you know, the frame was moving all over the place. So that's 3 raptors. We got the buzzard, the kestrel, and the peregrine. And yesterday I didn't see it. I was walking with another birder, Steve, who spotted the Black Necked Grebes. And I knew immediately what it was. It was the size of it, and landing in a tree like that. It was a sparrowhawk, landed for about 2 seconds. I sort of quickly went, whoa, hold up, you know, don't move. But that was enough to spook it away. And I've seen that behavior before from the sparrowhawks. You might remember from a previous Crossness video, I said that there was one going back and forth from the outflow, trying to catch off any stragglers, and landed in the tree on the right. And I was just setting up for video, and some bikers went by and scared it off. And then I got it on the bridge, the pier further out, landed. And yeah, so I mean, down here, there's been 3 or 4 brown rats, really healthy looking brown rats. There's one there, so I'll just show you the footage. I'm not going to, you won't be able to see it from this. But yeah, he's running around there. Really healthy looking brown rats, digging up and eating material. I mean, what were they digging up? I couldn't quite make it out. When the brown rat came up, it was digging in the mud and came up with something, I don't know, shell, a bit of plant material, but it was really after this, whatever it was, and it must be nutritious. And I wonder what it is. I couldn't make it out. Anybody know? But yeah, so that's a good thing. Rats eating what they naturally should eat. And you know, a few years ago, like I said in a previous video, I got the brown rat with the crab down here. And yeah, very, very clean coats. I wonder where they live. Do they make their way through underneath this Thames pathway when the tide comes in? No idea, because they don't look mucky at all. Yeah, and I think that rounds us off. I think we're done. And lovely weather since I've been back. Do I prefer this cold weather to the warm weather? Well, I mean, arguably birding would be a lot easier if it was this kind of 10 degrees Celsius as we are in the UK. But you know, you don't get those tropical things you see in Malaysia and Vietnam. So it's weighing it up, what kind of birds you want. Are you happy running around the UK and getting what's here? It's a comfortable temperature. Or do you want to go out there and get the crazy stuff and put up all the bugs and the biting and the leeches and the heat and the humidity? Anyway, that's a good little 2 days back from holiday. I'm going to upload it in between all my Kuala Lumpur videos, which are going quite crazy at the moment. Anything else I spot on the way back to my cab will get added, but that's a good catch up. Hope you enjoy, folks.